Well, and it's good to have you back. After the break, we continue now with more business here on Smart Means Business. The hashtag is SMB on for Twitter. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko, but as we return after the break, why you should be reminded about investment is because the world that we're living in is very, very much so into saving for investment. And here, we remind you that with Zabu, it does become so possible. And it is something that you should be able to pick up and experience. *292# is the USSD code that you can definitely use to kickstart off your investment journey with Zabu. Zabu is a platform by Alltech East Africa which tells you and reminds you always to do something new. Now, with something new can you choose to do today is by investing in government bonds and, of course, make sure that you are getting your day kick-started off with the platform. Zabu, my money, my future. Alltech East Africa, do something new. Well, quickly here, the thing is, with the Zabu platform, all you need to do is register with your national identification number, and after registration, you can easily kick-start off your investments. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and closing time is 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Zabu's markets are always closed during the weekends and on public holidays. There you have it, Zabu, my money, my future. Alltech East Africa, do something new. All right, now, as we head to the East African community perspective, we start with the EAC Secretariat, which is set to begin digitizing imported goods tariffs. Now, according to what is coming in from here, the Secretariat has commenced the process of digitizing its common external tariffs, the CETs. Now, the program being implemented with the support of the World Customs Organization is meant to enhance the private sector's participation in international trade. Besides that, through the digitization of the common external tariffs, the business community, as well as exporters and importers, will have access to trade information from the private sector in international trade. Now, the platform, which is currently under development in partnership with Global Trade Solutions, that is the GTS, will enable seamless migration of the East African community common external tariffs during the transportation of the harmonized system. Now, it will, in the long run, provide information on the administration and management of the duty remission scheme, and also the production of information and publication of other measures that are affecting the implementation of the common external tariffs. Now, besides that, the platform will also include management of preferential tariff treatment on originating goods imported from regional economic communities where East African community partner states are members. Now, in addition, it will provide pictorial illustrations of products per tariff line, as well as a link that will be joining or connecting from the World Customs Organizations in regards to the harmonized system that was created by the SEM. Now, according to the statement from the East African Community Secretariat, the platform launched and made available for public use by June 30th, accessed electronically from both computers and mobile devices. The platform will contain searchable functionalities by tariff code or generic product description with data extraction that is for statistical purposes as may be required by users. Now, the East African community currently implements a 4-band CET with a minimum rate of 0% for raw materials and capital goods and 10% for intermediate goods not available in the region. Now, the other is 25% for intermediate goods available in the region and 35% of for imported finished products available in the region. In automating the East African community common external tariffs, the scale, scope and speed of engagement by the private sector are expected to increase as a result of enhanced access to trade information in a digitally connected environment. The East African Community Secretariat says significant progress has been registered in the development of the platform, including the finalization and beta testing of some key modules. Now, piloting of the system has been going on in a test environment of the East African Community website since July of 2020. And so there you have it. EAC Secretariat is now looking at digitizing imported goods tariffs to make it easier for a little bit more in regards to participation of the East African community, especially the private sector, into international trade. Now, lastly, from the East African perspective, the Kenya National Highways Authority yesterday installed yesterday revealed about its installation of the high-speed way-in-motion way bridges in its static way bridge stations along the popular Mombasa-Malaba Highway. Now, despite pressure from the logistics partners, if you to look at this, to reduce the number of such stations, though, just a few days prior, when the Kenya Ports Authority, that is the KPA, recommended reducing the number of way bridges along the northern corridor from 9 to at least 3 for transit goods in order to improve cargo movement. If you're to look at this, Kenya is leading the way in axle load control and management automation in East Africa, as it intends to become the first country in the region to implement the way-in motion technology countrywide. Now, observing the positive impacts of the system deployment in regards to this report, and the National Road Agency says trucks can now travel from Mombasa to any part of the country along the northern corridor without being stopped if they have complied with the set axle load limits. Now, in this particular Karibu East African update, we do have Kenneth Ndunjire, we have Kenneth Ndunjire, who is the Senior Engineer Axle Load Control, and we also got John Gichohi, a Senior Police Superintendent, giving us details in regards to the Kenya National Airways installation of the way-in motion along Mombasa-Malaba Highway.
Adequate plans to ensure that there is seamless weighing of vehicles to facilitate faster movement of goods, especially those which are transiting through our country, to make sure that the northern corridor remains competitive. As you are aware, this is a key trunk road, northern corridor, which traverses through various countries within the East African region. We pass through Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and finally to DRC Congo. Northern corridor is the busiest corridor we have in the country compared to the Namanga corridor and the coastal corridor. This corridor, we have various way bridges along it, around 4 static stations. We have Mariakani, we have Mulolongo way bridge, we have Gilgil, you have Webuye or Busia, depending on which border you want to exit from. And also now the initial one being the Dongo Kundu, but most trucks don't use the southern bypass. In the way bridges, we have made various advancements, technological advancements, to make sure that we leverage on technology to ensure that goods are moved faster within the country. As you have seen in this station, we have installed the high-speed way-in-motion system. This system is able to filter vehicles moving at very high speeds of up to even 140 kilometers per hour. We'll be able to take their weights. They are either shown red or green. Once they are shown green, they don't have to enter the station. They are only allowed to go back to the road, and they proceed. Those which are called in, roughly you have a figure of around 10% of all the vehicles which are called into the station to come and do weight confirmation at the multi-deck scales. And here, most of them are also cleared. You have a few numbers coming into the yard to do load corrections. That's either they offload the excess or they redistribute where they are overloaded on the axles. But the 90% which are cleared, they are allowed to go to proceed on with the journey. So nowadays you don't have those queues which used to be there at the way bridges some years back. And this is mainly due to the level of automation which we have done in this station. So these automations, they help us to ensure that we protect the roads, and also at the same time we facilitate faster movement of goods to ensure that there are no gridlocks or stoppages of these transit vehicles in these way bridge stations. We have also done more advancement in the stations, also at the static stations, to ensure there is better efficiency. We have a robust system which weighs the vehicles, the capturing of the details for the various transporters and trucks. It is automated. We have automatic number plate recognition cameras which automatically picks the number plates, and then you can see, as you can see, a truck takes 15 to 20 seconds on the scale to weigh one truck, as opposed to initial weight used to take 2-3 minutes to weigh. So even the advancements which we have made here at the multi-deck scales, they are making us to weigh faster and weigh a lot number of vehicles in a very short time. We have also made sure that we add the number of scales which we have. As you can see, in one side we have 2 scales, as opposed to initially when you used to have 1, so that you have 2 vehicles weighing at a given time. And through all these investments, we are able to make sure that drivers, they take the shortest time possible they can at the weighbridge station. I can assure you that a driver can be able to move from the initial point, that is from point A near in Mombasa, and exit at either Busia or Malaba without entering a single weighbridge through the kind of axles. And that's why the authority, in order to save the lengthy sections, have also come up with the innovative ways on how to deal with that challenge. That's why we have seen we have installed the virtual weighbridge stations in the intermediate distances to be able to check on the use of these axles, especially the liftable axles, because to us that is the single most threat now to our roads in the country, especially on the regional trunk road networks. These virtual weigh bridges, they also weigh vehicles at high speeds of even up to 140 kilometers per hour. The vehicle is not required to stop. And currently we are working on how to alert the owners and the transporters if these issues of overloadings happens. So we are working around the clock to ensure that all these systems are rolled out, not only to the roads which now feed the neighboring countries, but also even to those which feeds nationally important centers.
If, say, a truck bypasses this weighbridge, that is an offense under East African Vehicle Road Control Act. If a truck has got is carrying out of gauge cargo and it has exceeded dimensions, it requires to have an exemption permit. If it doesn't have that exemption permit, then it has committed an offense. We are supposed to take that vehicle to court under the Act. And at the same time, if having been issued with that permit, and then you fail to comply with the terms and conditions of that permit, you have committed an offense, and then we are required to take you to court. Vehicles that have got liftable axles, both the Traffic Act and the East African Vehicle Road Control Act stipulates that the vehicle should have an automatic drop-down mechanism when it is loaded. And therefore, what normally the truckers are doing, they are fitting their vehicles with some mechanism in such that it is controlled by a driver. And when that happens, or we normally take charge them with overload, which they pay overload fee, but equally we take them to court for having flouted such regulations.
All right, now let's turn our eyes to the international scene to see what is making headlines from the world of business. All right, now, as of yesterday, Twitter users, especially those who got their blue check marks without having to pay the $8 fee, got theirs scrapped off, as the subscribers to Twitter Blue are the only ones having their blue check marks. Now, speaking of that, Twitter boss Elon Musk has threatened to sue Microsoft as he accused the technology giant of using data from his social media company without permission. Now, he says that they trained illegally using Twitter data. Lawsuit time, the multi-billionaire said in a tweet. Now, Musk was responding to Microsoft's plan to remove Twitter from its corporate advertising platform. He did not provide further details or evidence to support his claim, though, but Microsoft declined to comment in regards to this. Earlier, the company said in a notice that its advertising platform would no longer support Twitter starting Tuesday, 25th April. As a result, ad buyers would not be able to access their Twitter accounts through Microsoft's social management tool. Now, other social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn will continue to be available. That's according to what Microsoft said. Now, Twitter's press email responded to a query with a customary poo emoji. Now, besides that, in February, Twitter started charging for the data it collects from hundreds of millions of users with a basic plan which is starting at $100 a month. Now, the data also allows users to manage and track every aspect of social media presence, according to the platform. Now, since buying Twitter for $44 billion, that is approximately 35.4 billion pounds in October last year, Elon Musk has cut its workforce by around 80% and moved to boost the company's finances through measures including charging users for the blue tick verification. In recent months, major companies including iPhone maker Apple reportedly halted advertising on the platform over concerns about how content was moderated on the site. In November, Elon Musk said Twitter had seen a massive drop in revenue and blamed activists for pressurizing the advertisers. And Twitter had just a month left to leave when he took over, according to what Elon Musk revealed in a recent interview with the BBC. He also said almost all advertisers have come back or say they are going to come back to Twitter ever since he took over as Twitter CEO. Now, Elon Musk added that Twitter could be profitable by the end of the second quarter of 2023, and he would be willing to sell the company if the right person came along. Now, Elon Musk is currently the second most richest individual, according to the latest Forbes reports. All right, now lastly, from the international scene, we head to the east, where China is making plans to boost consumption amid demand concerns. The National Development and Reform Commission says it is drafting plans to boost recovery through its big-ticket consumption. China is formulating plans to boost the recovery and expansion of consumption, as the state's plan and spokesperson Meng Wei has revealed, signaling officials are worried about weak demand despite a sharp rebound in retail sales. China's economy grew at a faster than expected pace in the first quarter as businesses and consumers came out of crippling pandemic disruptions, although headwinds from a global slowdown point to a bumpy ride ahead. Now, the National Development and Reform Commission on Wednesday pledged to promote a sustained recovery in consumption. Now, currently, they are working on drafting documents on the recovery and expansion of consumption, mainly focusing on key areas such as stabilizing big-ticket consumption, enhancing service consumption, and expanding rural consumption. That is according to Meng. Now, Meng at a news conference also mentioned that stabilizing automobile consumption, which was a big part of supporting consumption by promoting new energy vehicles to these rural areas, was a key priority. Now, although official data showed retail sales rose at a faster pace in March compared with the previous month, policymakers remain concerned that the lack of demand is adding uncertainty to the economic growth outlook. Now, the international environment is still complex and ever-changing as constraints from insufficient domestic demand are obvious and the foundation for economic recovery is not solid. Now, Fung Lingwai, who is the Statistics Bureau spokesperson, revealed this earlier on Tuesday. The National Development and Reform Commission on Wednesday further pledged to promote a sustainable recovery in consumption for any kind of situation as it's happening in China. And well, that's it for the international updates as well this morning. As we head to the break now, remember to invest and kickstart off your investment with Zabu. Zabu is a platform by Alltech East Africa. The hashtag, or rather the USSD code is *292# for those who intend to invest with the platform. Zabu says my money, my future. And well, Alltech East Africa says do something new. And also do remember to grow your investments with this particular specific platform, Zabu. And with Zabu, you grow together with the platform. Minimum is 15,000 Ugandan shillings for the investment, and you will definitely kickstart off your investment journey. Zabu, my money, my future. Alltech East Africa, do something new. Markets are fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. When I do return after the break in the hour of 8, we shall be looking at more details regarding business. We have more business updates coming up shortly. And of course, in that same particular hour, we talk more of the ED Day celebration. So stick around, there's more to come. Good morning.